hockey rivals, secret lovers, going to the cottage, stupid Canadian wolfbirds, and the best butts on screen ever.
Let's be honest,
Of all
ever.
time. Outrageous. That's right. This week we are breaking down 2025 rom-com series Heated Rivalry with Connor Story and Hudson Williams, currently streaming on HBO Max. And if you don't have HBO Max, it is worth getting it just for this series.
100%. Welcome to the Rom-Com Rescue podcast, a brand new podcast where we bring the love and life lessons from your favorite rom-coms. I'm Kira Saban. I'm a healthy dating educator, a certified coach, and a positive psychology practitioner. But more importantly, I spend my days teaching the skills and mindsets of dating.
And I'm Dr. Isabelle Morley. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and an EFT certified couples therapist. And I help couples have the happiest, healthiest relationship possible. Join us weekly as we break down the best love lessons from your favorite rom-coms so we can all get into the best relationships possible. Because we believe that we create our own happily ever afters.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back and Happy New Year. Happy 2026. We are so excited to be back. And man, I don't know if you guys are following us on Instagram, but I recently posted all of the rom-coms and series that are coming up this year. And it is crazy. It is crazy. So before we dig in to our new favorite obsession, Heated Rivalry, along with it seems like everybody else online, we're going to tell you guys what we have planned this year because we're really excited about it. And we're like Rom-Com Rescue 2.0 this year because we are taking it up a notch. But the first thing is... Drum roll, please. The Bridgerton event, guys. This is going to be a big one. Bridgerton is coming out soon, actually at the end of this month. So crazy already. And we are dedicating 6 whole weeks to this event. We're going to do a pregame, talk about what we love about Bridgerton, what we're hoping to see. And we are both huge fans of Benedict. He is my favorite Bridgerton by far. So I cannot wait to see what they have planned. We're going to be breaking down the relationships, the attachment styles, the boundaries, the power struggles, the emotional maturity, and everything through the lens of Bridgerton. And then the best part is, after the second part comes out, we're going to be doing a live Bridgerton afternoon tea. We'll be dressed up. We're going to encourage you to join us. Ask all the questions. We're going to be talking in real time about the last part of Bridgerton and what we learned, what we took away, and how much we probably loved it. So you guys are going to want to get March 7th on your calendar for the afternoon. You can spend it with us. We're going to do Q&A. Come celebrate all things Bridgerton.
I am so excited, but I feel like that's just one of so many things that we're doing this year. We are also leaning into more themed episodes and more limited series, which I think will be so great. So we're thinking themed weeks on certain subjects and mini series and really interesting deep dives that will help us to teach important parts of dating and being in a relationship and not just reacting to what we're watching, which is fun to do as well. So things you'll see are ongoing conversations instead of just like quick takes that we have on a relationship or a person or a show or a movie, emotional patterns that we're seeing across stories and why they resonate for people, and more moments of, oh, damn, that's me. I see myself.
We're going to be really doubling down on the teaching because this is not a recap podcast. This is a deep dive into relationship dynamics podcast. And who better to talk about that than us? Right? And along those lines, Relationship Lab is coming this summer. We are going to be starting a community where it's not just watching and listening to the podcast, but you guys get to interact with us. You get to ask questions. We get to talk, and you get to really learn from each thing that we're watching so that you are not only enjoying the rom-coms, but really taking away the love lessons and what's healthy, what's not, what's helpful, what's not. Because, man, if you look around, we can all be doing this a little bit better. Right, Izzy? Think we could all be doing this better.
Absolutely.
And it's just for people who love rom-coms, but also want to understand themselves better. And why not learn through something as fun as rom-coms?
That's why we do this, is because we love watching all of these shows and movies, and we love learning from them too. And I think it's fair to say the hub of where all of this stuff is going to be discussed, promoted, where you'll get like the first takes is Instagram. You should hop over to Instagram, follow us there. You're going to see some amazing carousels. You're going to see the conversations that we're having, thoughts that we have behind the scenes, episode tie-ins. So head to Instagram. We will have so much content there, so much community energy there, and it will be a good place to see all the stuff that's going on with Rom-Com Rescue.
Love it. And last but not least, I think the most exciting thing is in July of this year, I'll be coming and bringing my new midlife event, Spark, to Boston. And because of that, we're going to be doing a live Rom-Com Rescue episode. We have not chosen the movie yet. We're going to let you guys help us choose it, but it'll be live in Boston. You can come hang out with us for a night, just laugh with us. I'm sure there will be silly swag, and it's just going to be a great time. Come check it out. It's going to be so much fun.
I cannot wait to pressure you into wearing matching outfits, which she hasn't even heard me say yet. So there's lots to look forward to.
I think I'm into it. Into it. Yeah, absolutely. Done. I even think that we should wear matching outfits and a costume change. There's like the first half, kind of like the Oscars, multiple outfits. Oh my God, we're ridiculous. And guys, we've created some really basic rules for Rom-Com Rescue, just so you know what to expect every week and so that you are never surprised.
The first one is that there are spoilers ahead, always. We break down these movies and shows from a real love and relationship lens, looking at things like psychology and attachment, communication patterns. But we talk very specifically about plot points, what happens, the endings. So watch the show or movie first, or rewatch it if it's been a while since it's come out, and then come listen to the show.
Yes, that's how you're going to get the most of these episodes. And then I do want to remind everybody that one of us is a certified swear bearer. That's me, by the way. So if you have little ears around, please throw on some headphones. They'll also be very bored by our relationship discussion probably anyway.
And as much as we are experts, we also love rom-coms as much as everybody else does, which means we have our own blind spots. We have outdated beliefs that we will need to call out. We will admit when we are rom-com magic blind to things that are toxic or unhealthy. And we will lovingly challenge each other and anyone who's listening to be aware when the fantasy is getting a little too messy.
Because our goal is really not to ruin the romance. It's to help everybody enjoy it, but also build healthier love in real life. So guys, without further ado, let's break down. Man, I did not think we were coming in this hot, literally, in 2026. But let's break down Heated Rivalry and the 5 reasons why not only people, but we are obsessed with this. The good, the bad, the everything in between. But holy shit, Izzy.
Not ready.
I have never seen anything take hold on the internet as I have seen Heated Rivalry, just slowly at first, and now it is everywhere. People are obsessed with this. I have watched it twice, the second time, just honestly because I wanted to watch it again. That barely ever happens in my life anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But oh my gosh.
Kira, especially after last year, which we agreed was a pretty thin year for good rom-com shows and movies. It was not strong. And so to come in 2026 with this feels very exciting. Like we're off to a great start. And what surprised me was that it's based on a book, right? So like we know the classic romance book novel sort of arcs. Like there's not that many stories out there. However, this was very powerful. And I went into it being like, okay, a hockey romance. I've got friends who read those. I know what to expect. But this show was so deep. It was so powerful. It touched on so many really intense, meaningful things for people. It was not just a light, stupid rom-com.
It was not hockey smut, which is what I've heard it called.
It had plenty of smut.
It had definitely a little bit in there, but it was so much more. I started this, and this is some general consensus I hear, which is the first couple episodes are like, oh, okay, two young hot guys getting it on. But by the time I was to 5 and episode 6, I was like, I'm a different person.
Yeah.
I loved this so much, to the point of where I know myself, my brain, like how I feel about things. I'm really self-aware at this point. And I'm like, why the fuck am I so obsessed with this?
I know.
I'm thinking about the cottage. I'm thinking about like their relationship and everything. And so I said, Izzy, first of all, like we were a little late to the game. We didn't start this until the end of December, but this has just blown up and I get it. People are obsessed. And I think it was a beautiful and intimate story. Mm-hmm. Especially for two men, and it was beautifully acted. But let's start talking a little bit about what stood out, because to me, as I had to step back and actually think about it, because I was really deep in the rom-com magic blindness, right? Really deep into it. This whole thing triggered my anxious attachment. If I put in the time and energy for 10 years, I can finally win them over and it'll all work out and they will love me forever. It is every anxious woman's dream that when we earn or hustle for love and we're like, see? It happened for them. It can happen for me. That was the thing. I heard it described online as a wish fulfillment fantasy, which is just this idea that over time, feelings will grow and people will evolve and it'll change and blossom into love. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that may be true and may not be completely true. But yeah, it really triggered a lot of things. Like Rachel Reed, I don't think she has a background in psychology, but damn if she did not
tap into
something that really spoke to people, particularly women, because women are obsessed with this, which I think everybody, including the stars, were like, we did not see that coming.
It's funny because I feel the same way, but from the more avoidant perspective of Ilya. Here's this guy who like won't share a feeling, who shuts down whenever this lovely man Shane tries to tell him something about wanting to be close or emotionally intimate. And then we see him eventually get to this place where he's able to initiate closeness and emotional intimacy and love. And that's the avoidant dream, that like you'll find somebody who hangs in there long enough with all your bullshit, makes it safe enough for you to do that, is totally receptive, and it goes well every time. And it's that is truly the dream. It is. But I also want to point out that there was really powerful things for other people, including like the role of parents, seeing so many corrective parenting experiences with Kip's dad being lovely and supportive and checking in on him, and seeing Shane's parents, who are not perfect by any means, but like the way they show up for him when he comes out unexpectedly. I think there was just so many models of what we want to see in all of our relationships, with our family, with our friends, which we'll talk about, which was really, I think, why this was like universally so loved.
And it is. And it is so loved. And one of the things that I saw that I don't think we're going to talk about in our 5 reasons is I really saw like the LGBTQIA community talk about how non-traumatic this was, right? There was no villain. There was no hate. There was no anybody beating them up because they were gay. There wasn't like these traumatizing experiences that are just in a lot of LGBTQIA stories, right? And really the pressure was from each other. The pressure was from the culture. The pressure was from Russia and hockey culture and these external things. And it was just really different. Yeah. So let's get into, we actually, as we watched this now twice, and wanted to know why is everybody obsessed, we came together with 5 reasons of why we think people are so drawn to this, just feel so excited by it. People are like, oh my God, I can't wait till season 2. And I'm sure that they have.
A long ways away.
I know, and it's a long ways away because nobody expected this response. From what I know, they did this like on a dime.
Yeah.
And to live up to this hype, woo! I don't want it.
Much
I don't want it. But I'd love to talk about something that is personal and near and dear to my heart, which is one of the reasons I really feel like we fell for this. And it was a perfect storm of long distance relationships with this like slow, literally 10-year burn. Mm-hmm. The two of those together are just intense and exciting. Addictive. Exactly. So what we love about that, these stolen moments, the intensity when they finally see each other, the way absence makes everything feel bigger and deeper and more romantic. I have personally been sitting there waiting for those texts on the other end of a long distance relationship many times. The years long arc, like this wasn't over a couple of months. This was years. And my anxious ass was always so when they're like, it was a year since they'd seen each other. I was like, oh my God, who's waiting? What?
But to that point, though, it's like the idea that somebody would love you or want to be with you for that long, even with people in between, taking their focus, that there is that degree of interest, affection, attraction, that somebody would keep coming back to you no matter how much time. I think we all want to be chosen in that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And to hope that people will hang on for 10 years. But as somebody who really experienced long distance relationships in my earlier dating life, particularly, there was a reason I chose that. And a couple of reasons were, A, I didn't have to be vulnerable. Right? I got to really choose when and how I wanted to be seen because we just didn't see each other that often. So I could go be shiny and wonderful for a couple of days and then come home and be like, about the rest of my life and not have to show it. We don't have to be vulnerable. We don't have to be emotionally available. And it feels less scary. But on the other side of that, we don't get the day-to-day. We don't get that long-term sense of comfort and kindness that a long-term relationship can bring us, or when you get to see people on a regular basis. And that's long distance relationships can feel so romantic and so exciting. But I have a rule for my clients, which is, okay, if you get in a long distance relationship, but if this starts going somewhere, you should be figuring out how one of you is getting in the same city with each other within a year.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to really know what this is. And let me tell you, I have heard hundreds, if not thousands of stories around this until you're spending real time together. Because anybody can be amazing for a weekend. Anybody can be like,
for
it just,
a night.
And then distance just allows that relationship to live in our head. We're not spending much time with people. We're imagining, we're creating stories, we're creating fantasies. We fill in the gaps with hope and longing and imagined closeness, even if we haven't seen somebody for months and months. And there's also just very little real life friction. You're not usually dealing with real life stuff together that tests how you deal with conflict, how you deal with the tough stuff that comes up in relationships.
Kira, what you're describing sounds fantastic. This does sound like what people are looking for, right? And this is a lot of online dating is like you can curate how you present yourself and how frequently you're being vulnerable, showing parts of yourself. But like then people aren't really knowing you and you aren't really knowing them. And you can't actually assess if you have something real, something that you can build on and sustain because it is these little piecemeal, again, carefully curated parts of yourself or your life, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's really easy to do. And I'll tell you, I've heard a lot of just bummer stories where people literally moved to another country and within a couple of months are, oh my God, what have I done? Gave up their whole entire life. And I've also heard stories where somebody is talking and meeting up with somebody who maybe has a whole nother family, who maybe has a whole nother life. Oh yeah, I have heard it all. Yeah, I have heard it all. So long distance relationships can seem so exciting and just convenient, right? Like what you said, it sounds like the dream, right? You only have to show up when you want to. You only have to be as available as you really want to. But that doesn't really create love. And it doesn't create ongoing love. It really creates romance and attachment, but not love. And I think the relationship at some point just becomes quietly unsatisfying because you're like, I'm seeing somebody, but the day to day where I just need support and love and everything else, we're not getting. And a phone or a text only does so much. So that to me was one of the reasons why I really felt this stood out, is because a lot of people feel not only this long distance relationship, but the 10 years, this ongoing. And we've just been taught that, especially through romance, that love requires suffering. And it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Yeah. And our brains want to finish that story. We don't want it to just float away. We want there to be something real there. And that fantasy feels safer from that day-to-day reality. So I think that's my number one reason, is the long distance and just the timeline really played with us in getting to ride the fantasy along with them, getting to believe. And I was thinking, we're giving that timeline a lot of heavy lifting, right? That like, oh, because time has evolved, people have grown up, people have become more emotionally mature, people have had realizations and reflections about themselves and their actions, so that by the time we all end up at the cottage, things are like
healed. Yeah.
Right? Healed and good. And now all of a sudden we're co-regulating each other, and we're, I mean, what a fucking dream.
It did skip a few steps in their relationship. Like, I think we can all acknowledge they were on and off hooking up for 10 years, and suddenly they're like this wonderful, perfect couple who's
right.
But
and did I love it? I fucking loved it. Yeah. Did I love it? The cottage? I will think about that episode forever.
You know, for me, it's Scott Hunter and Kip. It's that when he calls him onto the ice, I can't get that out of my head. I'll never get over it. A
little behind the scenes, that is now the highest rated episode, along with Breaking Bad's finale on ever.
Stop.
Episode 5 of this is the highest rated episode on IMDb, only being matched by Breaking Bad's finale.
I sobbed. I sat in my house and sobbed when Scott Hunter called Kip onto the
Oh my
ice.
God, I got chills just us talking about it right now. Oh my God, did they put heroin in this? What? Are there drugs? I know. I have literally chills down my legs right now. That's
just
how much
talking about it.
I love. And to me, I think you were more into the Scott and Kip storyline than I was. To me, Scott and Kip walked so that Shane and Ilya could run. Exactly.
So here's what I'll say. So let's get into a second reason. Scott and Kip, I will say, I feel like they have a pretty healthy, secure dynamic from what we see. It hasn't been taken out into the public, or it gets taken out into the public. So we don't really know, but very seemingly secure, open communication. Very different from what we see with Shane and Ilya, which is a very classic anxious avoidance push and pull, which I'm an EFT therapist, so we call that the pursue withdraw pattern. Like, regardless of like attachment style you assign to it, is where one person is the more emotionally pursuing one, who asks for what they need or points out problems or wants to get closer, and that prompts the other person who feels overwhelmed or like they've made a mistake or whatever to pull away. They withdraw. So we see this pursue withdraw pattern, and this is just a classic presentation. One person is chasing, one person is running away, and you just want them to figure it out and to stop. So every time Shane says, maybe we should talk, or I'm having, like, he makes a gesture, he tries to get close, and we see Ilya put a stop to it. Be dismissive, make fun of him, literally leave, right? Like, it triggers this longing and this
absolutely
this pain. But this push-pull pattern really creates like distance between them, as it does for everybody. It makes the pace a lot slower, which already is because of the fact that they don't see each other often. But there's a lot of uncertainty that happens too, because there isn't emotional intimacy, right? Like we don't see people meeting each other in the same place of feeling willing to talk about their feelings or be close, except for physically, which we see plenty of physical intimacy, which is a stand-in for emotional intimacy. But
I will say, if it's okay, that first of all, so Shane, I think, would be leaning more towards anxious, more nervous. I felt very seen that first time they were going to meet, and he puts on a suit first, and then he's like, what am I doing?
Really,
and then
I was mortified by that.
And then he like goes and sits down, then the light's off, then he turns on the light when you're like waiting and nervous and everything else. But it is a common conversation, and Rachel Reed, the author of this book, that Shane is neurodivergent. He is on the autism spectrum. How that just plays out in the relationship. But I will say that for me, anxious to anxious, like Shane was so brave. There were a handful of times where he was like, okay, something has shifted here. Something has changed, and I want to talk about it. I'm starting to feel feelings where I didn't used to, and I think I'm not alone. And let me tell you, that like
so brave.
Brave, because I will tell you, I've had many circumstances like that, and I didn't have that conversation. I was too nervous, too scared to ask what this really is. Do we want to try something? And so seeing that even on screen, him saying, I'm really uncomfortable. You see him like pacing a little bit when Ellie is, okay, we got something to talk about here. Exactly. Yes. And then I loved how brave Shane was. And I also think it was so classic Avoidant, where we see this scene where they have just hooked up, but it was more touching and intimate and emotional. And we see very quickly after Ilya start mentioning women. Ilya start mentioning all the things that are happening for him. We can see him pulling away,
pushing
in real time. Don't get so close. Don't get too close, because
this isn't serious.
Who knows, right?
Like
this isn't
too.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
But you know what? Can I just say?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
More avoidant people out there. It's clearly because and he admits first in Russian and then in English that he loves Shane. So he is pushing away because he has such strong, scary feelings that he is terrified, won't be reciprocated, will be mocked like he mocks Shane. And so we do see him behave badly. We see him create space in all sorts of ways. He's also the one pursuing physically. We see him initiate most of the hookups. Like he's pushing that forward, but then emotionally he's keeping space. My heart broke, and I know all my avoidants out there did too, when they have this time together. And this is like this big moment of Shane initiating some intimacy and them using their first names with each other.
Yes.
And Shane freaking out.
Yes.
Not being able to be that close. Him leaving and then going off and dating a female actress, which Ilya has to say. And this is why we avoidant people are so scared to share our feelings and get close, because this could happen. Or you could let somebody get close and then they could hurt you like this. That is so terrifying. But again, this is why I think this is so powerful for people, is because we see both of them enact this pattern. Both of them either try to pursue closeness or pull away, and they continue to work through it together. It's not the end, right? Like we see them, even if it's over a long amount of time, they come back together, they address what happened, they find a way to meet each other finally at the same place of desiring intimacy and being able to communicate. And that is everyone's goddamn dream.
It is. And the thing is that you just had a couple of different things there that I want to comment on, which are, I actually call that the power struggle, right? One person's pushing, one person's pulling, trying to get the control back to feel the safest, to feel like you're not going to get hurt. But I also think that one thing that we don't always understand about avoidance, I think there's this instant, they're just not that interested. Most of the time with avoidance, they don't know what to do with the emotions. The emotions have maybe, the emotions have maybe been pushed down for so long. Maybe they haven't been able to safely feel them and process them. So having these feelings gets really scary. Scary, and they start to pull away, or they start to push people away. And the goal is always to be able to get over our own shit, to be able to talk things through and work through it. I am naturally anxious. Danny, my husband, is naturally avoidant. We now have a secure relationship because we had to work on trusting each other, communicating to get to that place. And I think it's really good because I hear sometimes some of my clients being like, where are all the secure guys at? Where are all the secure people? And I'm like, you create that.
Look in the mirror. Yes. You're
like, you create that. But I absolutely agree that like the attachment styles in this, the push and pull that are so recognizable, and then all of a sudden solved. We come together at the cottage. We have a quick conversation that just says, let's be really honest with each other, which I loved. Okay, exactly. Not like this is going to be hard at all after 10 years. And by the time that Ilya is saying, we're all okay here, we're good, your parents are here, your boyfriend's here, and then Shane's like, my boyfriend. Oh my God, I love this so much. I love it so much.
I know. But we see Ilya feel safe and secure. Like, he shows up so differently that last episode when he sees that Scott brings Kip onto the ice. Like, suddenly it like unlocks something for him, and he's willing to be sweet. He's never been sweet up until now. He's been like very sexy and dominating and funny, but like he has not been caring.
Walled. Right? So walled.
Yeah.
But that moment where Shane is in the hospital and he's drugged up. So it just brings on a vulnerability that I think he usually wouldn't have. And he's like, and I think that yes. And he's just like, I've been thinking don't go to Russia, come to the cottage. And he's like, Hollander, I can't do that. And I'm like, yes, you can. But oh man.
Oh, Kira, wait. Should we all, when we're dating somebody at some point, just like both go on morphine and just say everything and see if that heals all of the avoidant communication issues? I feel like maybe this is a new thing.
I also think that sometimes we use alcohol for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then that's really confusing because people say things when they're drunk that they don't say when they're not drunk. And do you believe it? And I don't particularly subscribe to the idea that people are just more honest when they've been drinking. I think that you're in a altered state. You just can't trust exactly what's going on.
Yeah, but
right.
Yeah.
Reason number 3, everybody, and I also know this well. What's wrong with me in my former dating life?
You're married now, so.
And that's why I have 400 episodes on my other podcast. But I think another reason why this was so good and exciting and hot is because it was a secret. Secrecy makes everything feel more intimate than it actually is. Have you ever been a secret?
I don't think so. Like, there's been relationships early on that we haven't disclosed to people. I haven't been in like a secret, we can't tell anybody about this for a reason relationship. No. Have you?
I definitely have. I have been kept a secret. I have kept others a secret, or we've kept a secret.
Yeah.
Most of it not really extremely unhealthy, just more like I've worked in a lot of places where I've also lived, meaning like on cruise ships. We all work together and live together. So when people start seeing each other or hooking up.
I see.
So there's a lot of different situations where this is just best for us to keep this under wraps.
Yes.
Or otherwise, literally 1,000 different crew are going to be like
gossiping.
But I don't look back at those chapters as being actually like that being romantic. It was maybe a little exciting, but it was also just another way for me to not have to express my feelings, not have to actually try, not have to get vulnerable enough to see if this could be something. It was, I feel safe in this little secret space. And I think that if I really was honest with myself, and this is going to be a moment I'm processing as I say this, but it created a safety that I think there was a part of me that when I was younger, I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel pretty. And it was like, you can be with me and you don't even have to tell anybody. Like, And I mean, that's heartbreaking to me now.
I know. Oh, God.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, but I think that's really what was happening a little bit, that I was hiding myself because I didn't like myself and I didn't feel worthy of really special and beautiful love. It's something that I've luckily worked through, and you can work through it and you can come to the other side. I did not meet my husband until I was 41. There was a lot of dating, a lot of naughty ridiculousness for a lot of years. The secrecy, what we love, it's hidden. You get like private jokes, right? That only you're the only one who knows the real me kind of energy. But secrecy, as well as like long distance, just accelerates that bonding or feeling of intimacy, but it creates a false sense of closeness. Right? Because it's so enclosed, because it's so private, it makes us feel like this is more special or more intimate than it actually is.
Kira, can I say something too? This is why this is infidelity, right? And Terry Real has a great quote. We shouldn't ask why people cheat. We should ask why they don't cheat. Cheating is exciting. It's erotic. It's right. Like there's a thrill to it. There's whatever. There's so many components of why people seek that out. And this is why people often find if they leave their relationship for the affair partner, that new relationship doesn't work because it was born in secrecy. It didn't actually have a chance to thrive when you bring it into the real world. You feel like this is your soulmate. They get you. This is so special. This is different. But it's because it hasn't seen the light of day. It hasn't actually integrated into your world, and you don't actually know
your
each
real
other.
life.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And there's no social accountability. There's no friends or family members being like, wait a second. Kip really didn't give anything away. He just said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not seeing anybody. To a point of my heart was fucking breaking for him. It was breaking for him when his friend figured it out. And there was somebody actually holding up a mirror going, is this okay for you?
Yeah.
Are you okay with being this? Is it worth being a secret, even if it's somebody you really care about? It takes a toll on you that you are not okay to be part of their outside life. And I think why it hooks us is it feels special. It feels exciting. It feels a little naughty. But privacy and secrecy, it doesn't always mean it's profound. And what it means is that you have built a little tiny bubble where there's probably like good sex and orgasms, some good conversation and laughter because all of those hormones kick in. But what happens when real life, real conflict, real things happen? Do you guys have the staying power? Can you work through the conflicts? And as you said, if you're cheating, now you have to deal with the fallout of that.
Yes.
Plus trying to create a relationship and everything else. What about reason number 4?
Reason number 4. This is the most important reason.
And that fucking loon.
Everybody come to the YouTube because I was making my eldest daughter's bed and found a loon stuffed animal, and it's living with me now. I straight up stole it from her. Canadian wolf bird.
Oh, stupid Canadian wolf bird.
Because if you know me, I love birds, so this is great for me. Anyway, okay, the most important reason, the sex.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was good.
Honest to
God.
God.
My God.
This exciting, desperate, passionate, very satisfying for everybody involved sex. Like it was.
Oh my gosh. It brought on a lot of feelings that don't come up as often as they used to. And I was like, oh, because this starts right in.
Oh my God, right
by
away.
Like minute 14, right?
They're in a shower.
Making a shower.
Yep.
And
where are all the other players?
I was like, oh, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Not important.
Not important, doesn't matter. But as soon as they showed those butts, I was like, oh, okay, here's what we're doing. All right, I see. Because I had no idea what it was about. And then it was fan-fucking-tastic. I've seen a lot of women online go, wait, am I a gay man?
That's what I thought. Literally, watching them make out, I was like, I think that I might have not been aware of the fact that I'm a gay man who loves hockey. And this is something new. I might go to a hockey game this year. I didn't realize that's what they looked like under all those pads.
I think you should. So I actually love hockey. I dated a Canadian. And when I used to visit him in Vancouver, we would go to Canucks games. And honestly, it was some of my favorite memories. Like,
I love this.
I am not much of a sports person, but if I'm going to go sit somewhere live, like hockey's actually my favorite. I think it's so fun. And the boy aquarium, that's what they're calling
aquarium,
it now.
I know.
Go up against the glass, watch the boys. Oh my God. I love when women take shit over. I love, and now like women are taking over. Yeah, exactly. Like when Taylor Swift
we're like, all right,
started dating Travis.
Yeah.
And then all of the Swifties are like, I guess we like football now. And now I love that women are like,
we're into
let's
hockey.
do hockey. Let's do hockey.
But,
I love it.
And so the sex was great, and it was frequent, and it was just very intense. I did leave you a voice note. Yesterday, was it, being like, hey, is this Shane's first time hooking up with somebody? And he went straight from a pretty short kiss right to a blowjob. That is a leap.
That is, yeah.
For a first timer, how confident and like amazing, and I guess you're super excited, but that sort of took me aback. But anyway, the sex is great, but it is a stand-in for emotional intimacy. Like we see,
absolutely.
This is the closeness that they have. It's how they express themselves and show their care and attraction and affection. And it's not through words and being emotionally present and connected in that way. And this can happen where you just feel so close to somebody physically. The sex is so wonderful. You're getting all that oxytocin and dopamine and norepinephrine, and you're like, oh, we're close. This is meaningful. I feel very connected to them.
Right.
Without the other really important part of being with somebody, which is emotional closeness and intimacy. And this was
absolutely
like a perfect example of how that can happen.
And I saw this because honestly, my algorithm is out of control. It's every other video is heated rivalry. I'm not even joking.
I know.
And I heard another podcast, a hockey podcast actually, talking about how Ilya was a consent king. And I loved it because it's true. Like the whole entire time, he's very much like, is this okay with you? Like, time? Is this okay? Right. And I feel like there's been this just like crappy narrative that like getting consent is not romantic, right?
Yeah, not
or
sexy,
is not sexy. And I can tell you, there is nothing that wasn't not sexy in this whole fucking thing. It's the whole thing was just ridiculously hot. And I loved seeing them check in on each other, that kind of stuff. I love that they just snuck in healthy things that we want to and need to see in between the beautiful butts.
It was lovely to see that consent being included and how it can be done in a way that's not, stop, I need to ask you this list of questions to make sure you're okay with it before we proceed, which is like people's impression, I think.
I have a checklist in my hand.
Please sign at the bottom.
Yes, exactly. Please X what feels okay.
It doesn't have to be that. We did not see a lot of like emotional checking in or caring. Okay, like that was a really big deal. This was your first time being with a man. How do you feel about this?
Good
there
point.
Was physical consent getting checked off, but there was no emotional aftercare. And I would have loved to see more of that.
Absolutely. That is a great point. I love when you point out when I don't notice something. It makes me so happy because I love to still be learning, right? And as a 52-year-old woman, I just see like weird Gen X things sometimes. I don't see stuff because it's so normalized for me. That is different for you. And it's really helpful for me. But you're absolutely right. That's not the only kind of consent, right? The other kind of consent is emotionally, are you okay? Because
set up working for you. Yes.
Absolutely. Because we don't discuss enough that why we have to be careful about who we're getting it on with is it does create this chemical cocktail that helps us attach to people, helps us start having feelings for people, even people that we may intellectually go, oh my God, I don't like them. They're not for me. We're just having sex. Listen, the amount of people that I have hooked up with that I was like, this is never going to go anywhere. And then 3 months later, I'm like, why don't they want to be with me? It's not a couple. It's not a couple. So even funny. Oh my God. Because it's just so true. I feel so good about the younger version of myself representing the hot mess expresses out there. I feel really good about that.
They got to be seen. And I flag this for Ilya in particular. Last point is because he has been with men. He has way more experience with both genders.
True.
He knows what it feels like, and Shane obviously doesn't, and is just less experienced in that way. But besides that, still great sex.
But
great
Elia is, particularly early on, is not connected to his emotions, right? So even if he does have more experience, which he does, I don't think he asked himself those questions of, does this feel safe? Does this feel okay? Because being from Russia and that part of him not being accepted. And it's interesting because it's exciting to me that in 2026, overall, there aren't all of the kind of coming out storylines. Like, we're just accepting this person is out and there's consent and there's happiness about it and everything else. And we get to watch that story. Mm-hmm. But this is very real. Professional sports can be a very homophobic, and there is even conversation right now happening about the NHL and how unwelcoming they have been in the past. And then people are like, why are you not capitalizing on this? And then people are like, why are you trying to capitalize on it? And it's a whole lot of crazy bullshit. But every day I get stronger in my belief of, why the fuck does it matter to anybody else?
Why does it matter?
Why does it matter?
I agree.
Why?
Good God.
Why? Like in 2026, I know. I'm so glad it's a conversation because I'm so glad I got to watch this and go on this a little emotional roller coaster with the storyline and everything else. But it horrifies me that there's still so many people who think it's their job to tell somebody else how to live. And fuck that shit is all I have to say. That's the scientific and technical term. So let's go into reason number 5, which I think is a really good reason, which is this is so good because it feels emotionally safe in a way that so many things we watched are not. They are not. Oh my gosh. Sometimes this is on some level an enemies to lovers, which I hate and you're not a fan of either.
No.
I don't mind it whatsoever in this because there were not traumatic moments that were used for drama. There was no villains. There's nobody, I'm going to expose you both. And you know what I mean? There was no major power imbalances. Everybody chose to be there. Nobody was like manipulating the other person. And that's a little bit rare.
It's so true. Even the enemies part, like there were professional rivals who were pitted against each other, but they didn't ever like truly hate each other or like act cruel to each other, which is so often the case. But yes, it was this like beautiful story of two people imperfectly figuring out how to love each other when they can't be open about their love. They don't even know what it is. They don't have a chance to figure it out because of distance, because of society. And we see them make mistakes with each other and then repair them and move forward. It was just like, this is beautiful. This is not total fantasy, whatever silly rom-coms we watch that are like, this never happens. People are not like this. People are,
and thank God, where they care for somebody, but it's sometimes either inconvenient, or why this can last 10 years is because these kids are professional sports players. So they are distracted. They're busy. This would have lasted 2 weeks for me. 2 weeks, because I would have been, I'm serious, it would have lasted maybe a month because I would have been so anxious. I would have either pushed this too far forward or I would have just forget it because this is just like too hard and I'm not hearing from them regularly or whatever. The fact that they were highly distracted by their very professional sports careers was a gift. If you didn't hear from somebody, you're like, they're probably playing their professional sport right now. That they do for 10 months of the year. Yeah. So just that. But I loved, and I saw this a couple of places on Instagram, people just talking about this isn't traumatic. And it's one of the few times that we saw women not have to do the emotional labor or just the heavy lifting. We got to see two men emotionally evolve and figure it out together, and the women were just like strong cheerleaders. And I loved Rose and the Rose character because I also think it came at a time where Shane needed a reminder of this is what healthy feels like. Somebody supporting you, somebody showing up for you, somebody being vulnerable and talking things through. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that probably shifted something in the storyline of what this could truly be.
There's so many times when people had a right to be hurt or angry and chose to be compassionate towards the other person and recognize why this was hard for them or why things happened. Rose had a right to be like, you knew you were gay, probably, and were dating me. And what was that about? Were you using me? Like, she could have gone down that path. And she had such a more compassionate, understanding response to Shane, who like really wasn't aware of his sexuality. Shane's dad could have been furious. You lied to us. How could you not tell us? Blah, blah, blah. You lied about where you were this week. And we see people just see life through a more nuanced, complex lens and respond without always being the hurt victim. And I think that was a good model for all of us.
Yeah, I am here for us role modeling in these series and movies what healthy looks like instead of all of the drama and the trauma all the time. And do I, deep down, knowing the way that humans are in love and relationships, think that they would have been truly like that at the cottage? Not 100%, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to believe it, but usually things don't fall that easily into place.
Yeah.
But do I think that all things are possible if people are willing to show up and be honest and communicate and ask for what they need? And we got to see that. And so I hook, line, and sinker believe this. I want them to start their charity. I want them to, and even his mom, Yuna, when she finds out she was a fascinating and interesting character, she felt the same way, which as I did, which they're like having to come up with a 5-year plan of how to be together.
Yeah.
And she's just, that's just not right. Yeah. And it's just not right.
Yeah, it's not.
It should not be like this. And that part's heartbreaking to me, that they have to come up with this plan of how to be in the same area. Then how to, if they're seen together, it's not like crazy and weird. Yeah. And why can't we just let people love? Why can't we let people figure out this crazy world of love and relationships with the people that they want to choose? I just think that this was a beautiful story. We got to see beautiful intimacy between two men, which I just think that we don't get to see that very often. And man, I just could not have loved this more.
And intimacy between men and other men who they're not romantic with. Like we see Scott and Shane have connection, or Ilya calls Scott after he brings Kip onto the ice, and we see fathers and sons speaking to each other. And not for everybody, like Ilya's male relationships are more complicated, but like it was nice to see men having more open, supportive relationships in general.
And Shane has Hayden, his friend, who he goes over and his wife cooks for them. Yeah. And they have friendships. More of this, please. More of this, please.
So if you loved this, which we assume that you did, it is worth reflecting on the parts of it that really resonated with you, which characters you felt close with. And here are some things that you could ask yourself and reflect on to understand yourself in love and relationships a little bit better. And the first one would be, I would ask, which character did you feel drawn to and which did you resonate with? Which character would you have been romantically drawn to and which character do you feel is who you are in relationships? And what can you learn from examining those two things?
And I think we can also look at, where have you confused longing, wanting for love, right? Or faux intimacy through sex, secrecy, long distance, thinking it was love, but it's just really emotionally unavailable connection.
Yeah. And if that's the case, like what part of that intensity feels familiar and easy?
And I think that one thing that just keeps coming up for me, that I don't think that is a completely perfect fit for this, but one of the things that I've said about my past dating is I felt a lot like they gave me enough to stay, but never enough to feel good. Right? So if I was ever like, okay, I'm out of here, they'd be like, okay, no, we can figure this out, that kind of thing. And then within a short time, back to the same old shit. And it feels a little bit like, when have you felt deeply wanted but not deeply chosen. And I think that those are two such different things, right? I know. I know.
Okay, and for my Ilias out there, what feels so scary about being direct and honest about your feelings or needs with someone that you are dating?
And for my anxious out there, how do we calm our shit long enough to let the other person catch up? To go slow enough to let everybody get to experience and process this in real time so we can actually grow something and not freak ourselves out and push people away.
Love that.
There is some great behind the curtains, just a couple of fun facts that I like to share. Connor Story, who played Ilya, decided to show off his body and deliberately perform the entire audition shirtless, even though it wasn't written that way. He said, "We're doing a show that heavily involves sex, so I took off my shirt, even though it didn't say that. I had my shirt off the entire time because I was like, if we're doing that, you want to see what people look like naked?" And it impressed the creators, and he won the role.
Good for him.
And then I got to just tell you, I just thought this was fantastic that Connor's story, Ilya's performance during the audition was so overwhelming that even though Hudson Williams, who plays Shane, tested with the other guy, Williams told the creator, the other guy was good, but Connor felt like he was going to pin me down and fuck me.
Yeah, we saw that.
And absolutely. And he won the role because of that. I really believed in their connection in a way that, I mean, I was thinking back to a lot of things we watched in the last couple of years and just there was just really, truly something about this. And if you guys don't know this yet, because it's everywhere, but Connor Story, who plays Ilya, is not Russian. He learned this Russian accent and Russian to do the Russian parts. And it's so good that people who are Russian did not even know until they heard him speak, which is...
It's crazy. It's amazing.
Crazy. So what's our tacos? What's our final verdict?
Kira, how about you tell me it's out of 5 tacos. What are your tacos?
Yes, I was very thoughtful and critical towards this. And I gave the overall tacos 10 and Love Lessons taco 10.
A 10 out of 5.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah, a 10 out of 5.
You're in deep. You are
I am so
very deep.
I'm so deep. Oh my God.
Here are my tacos, which are reasonable and within the constraints that we set for our podcast. I gave it overall 5, the most tacos, and Love Lessons.
As you should.
And this was hard, but I gave it a 4 because
and
I do think
very
there's
fair.
Some room for stuff. But I would even bump it up to a 5, actually, after our episode. I feel pretty good about this show and the lessons it taught.
I'll tell you, 2026 is going to be interesting. We have Bridgerton. We have a new version of Pride and Prejudice coming out.
Yes.
We have literally, I would say 10 rom-coms just coming out into theaters, which is
crazy.
New and crazy and has not really been happening for years and years. So I'm really excited. But to me, everything is going to be held to the standard for how we're starting off the new year. You guys, that is a wrap on this episode of Rom-Com Rescue. We've definitely laughed and analyzed and uncovered the real-life love lessons behind the romance.
Now it's your turn. Tell us what you think. Was this rom-com relationship goals or a total disaster? Definitely not a disaster. Vote in our Instagram polls and DM us your hot takes.
Yes, and we love your messages. And next week, guys, we'll be back and we'll be breaking down the brand new rom-com People We Meet on Vacation with Emily Bader and Tom Blythe. And it's currently streaming on Netflix.
Make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review if you love what we do. It helps us bring more rom-com magic and real talk your way.
Because at the end of the day,
we believe that we create our own happily ever afters. And we're coming to the cottage.
We're going to the cottage!